to another episode of the Loose Canon podcast, where we try really hard to stay on topic with the Destiny lore. This week we are talking, sorry about that, this week we are talking about, or continuing to talk about, the Black Armory, the Black Armory papers, all that inclusive stuff.
Yeah.
I always have a hard time starting this.
Well, so previously on Loose Canon podcast.
That's what we need. We need we need an announcer. We need a fifth guy, and Guardian to be the fourth guy. But
well, anyway, previously we went through
Recap.
the first So we got up to we just finished reading entry 110. Not that there are 110 entries, but the way that they're numbered, and basically, is it Henriette? Did I get the name wrong?
it's Henriette, yeah.
So Henriette had formed the Black Armory with two of her colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
The collapse happened.
Mm-hmm.
They had a prototype EXO.
Mm-hmm.
Henriette's daughter was killed.
Mm-hmm.
They fled.
Mm-hmm.
Yuki and Henriette fled.
Yeah, Helga Rasmussen died at the Black Armory, or at the very least shortly after they fled. Yuki, Henriette, and the others continued on more. Yuki gave herself to buy them time because they were being hunted by Guardians. Well, I really hate how difficult it is to describe who we all are, because it's like by Guardians, but it's like, well, they're not Guardians, they're risen because they're not of the Guardian philosophy, and it's like, it's just disorienting and difficult to explain, like trying to explain that every time to someone who's new to the series. It's like, oh my god, this is exhausting.
Maybe we should say light bearers.
That is my favorite definition of it, where it's like, it is just generic, it is what they are, like risen light bearer, whatever.
Yeah.
So they were being hunted by I think it was a group, wasn't it? A group of light bearers?
Well, I don't know. There was definitely one individual who basically explained that he wanted the EXO.
Yeah, like at least one, but possibly more.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like they're going, yes, Marcus, he's such a bastard. Like, we don't have names, so we can't just go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
It does actually say in entry 108, one of the men who had attacked us returned.
Yeah. So
now there might not be multiple Guardians, but there's a group. Sorry, I shouldn't even say Guardians.
Could it be that it's a light bearer who found a group of humans and was like, I will offer you protection, but you have to you're my gang now. I'm the leader.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, could be.
Okay, so we got to the point where Yuki had basically given her life so that the EXO and Henriette could escape. So shall we go on to entry 115? So they've just arrived. Well, in the previous entry, they arrived at an airport.
Yeah. So she and I spent the night. She and I, being Henriette and 801, they are the only two left in this. What I would imagine was like a fairly large group of people. They ran the Black Armory. That had to be at least 30 to 50 people, right? Of like miners. Only two are left now, Henriette and 801. She and I spent the night under the wing of a crashed jet. I realize now as I write this that I haven't seen a plane in the sky. Not since we set out. This is not the world I knew. Every time I look at her, I'm thinking about it. This is not the world I knew. So it's like really hard for... Imagine how hard that really is, though, for people who like were born before the Golden Age and then lived through the Golden Age and then had to experience the collapse and, if they survived, the Dark Age. Like, that is horrible.
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean, we don't know how long any of those periods really lasted.
yeah.
But it does seem that there are, you know, there are people, there are non-guardians or non-light bearers who have lived for a very long time for whatever reason. Yeah. So
seems
the
like
next, sorry, go on, Rhino.
No, I was just saying, it seems like those messages are very narrowly focused. There aren't a whole lot of descriptions of everything, the surrounding environment.
Their plan
That's
was
true.
to get to an island, which kind of seems like naive. Like, an island, we'll be safe there. Why?
It reminds me of, I don't know if you guys have seen Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, it's not a zombie thing. Like, it's like, there's aliens, there's spaceships.
Yeah.
Like, how is an island
actually-
going to save you?
It reminds me of, you know, like we used to build castles. I say we as a civilization, not we as in Loose Canon. But you know, we used to build.
I built castles.
Okay, well, I apologize. We used to build castles with like huge walls, and as you know, that was a fantastic defense until the invention of like artillery.
Yeah,
even early artillery like ballista and trebuchets and things.
like, hey, I can throw this over your wall. What?
Yeah. Yeah, but now, you know, with the introduction of like air-based warfare, like walls are. What is a wall going to do? And this is exactly the same. It's like on an island, how is the sea going to protect you if you can just fly across the sea? I mean, the races that they're fighting have traveled like thousands of light years, at least.
They have space travel. Water probably doesn't concern them.
Probably not. Anyway, it's a nice idea.
It is.
But it seems like something is helping protect them to an extent.
I guess.
Because you got to think of all the people that grouped up and created the wall, and all of the inhabitants of the city and the surround. I mean, the very beginning of the game, when we first got this, the description was very much centered around, you know, being protected by the traveler, you know, and its light, and so there's this huge center mass of population, which consists of, you know, light bearers, humans, all trying to build a wall underneath the traveler or near it, as close to it as possible. So in some capacity, that light must have something to do with their survival.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I think
Or
it's
the
the only
traveler.
explanation for well, we don't know why creatures like the Vex and the Hive haven't approached the city, really. But there, I think it's kind of hinted that the Traveler has some influence on that.
I think I just also want to point out that technically, in some aspects, the Vex have attacked the city very recently. Reading the Truth to Power series, the last two entries we had consulted the Vex attacking.
Wow.
I'm just saying, it's been discussed about like the possibility of a Vex invasion. I would agree though that there's got to be some influence of the Traveler that's actually doing something. Like, how much of the wall is actually needed and how much of it is just security theater? Like, is it just there to make people feel safe?
I mean, I think against a foe,
it stops ground troops, which I think is the majority.
It seems like in the early days of the city, the main foe was the Fallen.
Right.
And even now, that's probably still until recent history, the Fallen were probably what the city thought of as the biggest threat.
And you think about that, and they were once touched by the light.
Hmm. But I feel as though when you see what happened during the Red Wall, like the walls didn't really have much effect. Like the Cabal ships.
They just came over the wall and
Yeah.
just annihilated
Right.
us. But like the
Yeah.
wall, would the wall not be a reaction to Six Fronts, where basically the enemy was just
Exactly.
like, "Hey,
Sure,
look at this! Let's walk in
Yeah.
and start killing people." And it's like, all right, well, we
Yeah.
need something. We need something that can stop this from happening.
Hmm. Definitely. It feels as though, the Fallen are a much more predictable foe in some ways, and the like Twilight Gap was it from what we can tell, it was like a land assault.
Mm-hmm. No,
You
no,
know?
no, no, no. There was air assault as well, because
Okay.
the Twilight Gap itself has those anti-air artillery.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I never really thought of them as anti-air.
I think it's actually called out in the Grimoire card itself. I'll look it up. You keep going.
Okay. Well, anyway, to get back to the original point, it does seem like going to an island is not really going to help them too much. So, anyway, in entry 115...
Oh, well, before we get back on that topic, I did want to actually say one more thing. If you actually think about it, the ships that we see, like, a fallen skiff comes down, and it's like 8 fallen jump out, and then it goes away. And a hive tomb ship comes around, and like 10 hive are there. So it would need to be like a very large scale aerial assault to even like get the forces over the wall. Like, it would take a lot of effort. So it's kind of silly, but it seems like the wall is actually a little bit effective, because they're like, God damn it, we don't have that many pilots. Like, what do you want us to do?
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, should we go back to the Black Armory papers?
Mm-hmm.
So, in entry 115, I'll read it out because it's really short. The airport isn't safe anymore. The control tower is ablaze, and the monstrous sounds on the wind will keep us from investigating any further. So it's hard to know what it is that Henriette is referring to there, the monstrous sounds on the wind. But anyway, at this point they decide they're going to leave the airport. So, are you okay now?
Oh, it's just you're kind of like frozen up.
Well, I was just giving you guys an opportunity to jump in.
I was waiting for the greatest revelation ever found.
Yeah, same.
I thought you were preparing for something.
No. No, I was not.
Why would they? Okay, so they're at an airport and they've got to leave.
Yeah.
All right.
So, entry 116. We walk parallel to the roads and lie down in hiding when we hear other travelers. My legs are sore and my mouth is dry from answering her barrage of questions. There's so much of this world that she doesn't understand, and so much I want to tell her, but I just can't. Not right now. Yuki's death has weighed on us both, yet she retains an innocence. I'm trying so very hard not to ruin it. We came across the remains of a petrol-burning car in the forest, and she asked if it could still be alive. I had to explain it was never alive. Those machines had no souls. I instantly regretted saying that because it only led to more painful inquiries. I told her I had a headache and needed some quiet.
Yeah, it was actually
Questioning her own existence.
Yeah, well, I guess this is so as an exo, it is kind of interesting as exos go, because as far as I'm aware, all of the other exos were adult minds.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Put
I was
into-
gonna say like what is it? When you become an exo you also get Changnesia, because that was like very selective absent memory. Like, is this car alive? Like, no, it's a
Yeah.
car. It was
I
never
mean,
alive.
I suspect that the yeah, I think Ada is struggling with a sense of identity because she's a child. She's a child in an
And
adult exo body, which is kind
and
of odd.
she's 801. That means she never
Yeah.
got a reset. Like, she just got
Mhm.
booted right in. And if it was like any rejection, it's just fritzing around in there.
Which was a big deal when we figured that out at the time, which settled the argument of does EXO start at 0 or 1. Going back, just thinking. I mean, a lot of people have made that revelation now, but it was a big deal when that was brought to light. So if just like what she knows enough to understand she is more machine than human.
Would you say that she feels more of a connection to a car that doesn't look anything like her than to a human that actually looks like her?
I wouldn't say so. I don't think that's the case. I just think that she's having trouble. If you see an animal, this is a ridiculous analogy, but if you see an animal in distress, you want to help, right? In this case, I think, even though I don't think Ada sees herself as being closer to a machine, but if you think about it logically, if you think, okay, well, I'm a machine and I feel thoughts and feelings and have this experience, this consciousness, why wouldn't other machines have that? Yeah. Shall I go on to the next entry?
Yeah.
So, entry 117. When the sun is up, we're wary of other humans. When the moon rises, we worry about worse creatures. We're on a road to nowhere now, and I was always paranoid, but I can't shake the feeling that the man I let escape is watching us. Going further inland would be a mistake. That has become clear from the increasing destruction we're encountering. I'm hoping that if we can make it south to the Mediterranean Sea, even if it means going through the Alps, we might be able to find a small boat. An island sounds perfect, and I think Corsica should be the end goal. But with our luck, it will be beset by some sort of invincible sea monsters.
There it is.
Yeah, there's the island.
Yeah.
Yeah, geographically it's pretty interesting. If you ever get time to go look at the location she's kind of talking about. But
talking about the Mediterranean Sea and all that.
Yeah, I mean, if the world geographically is the same shape.
Well, I mean, it has to be, right? Because like the Black Armory was Niobe Labs, wasn't it? Like that's where they were held up. Right. And Niobe Labs is in the EDZ, and they left from the EDZ on foot. They haven't seen a plane, so like.
Yeah, which is really neat because you think about it. We've got all of the different Forge families kind of huddled around the Mediterranean Sea, or partly.
Yeah.
You've got France, and
it's a very long walk. Like, if they've made the majority of this journey by foot, and we know that if they were in the EDZ, if they were in, the EDZ is in a German-speaking location, which means it looks a lot like kind of either Germany or kind of somewhere near Switzerland or Austria. So even if we presumed it was like super close and like Switzerland kind of area, I suppose it could be North Italy. I think there's some German speaking areas of northern Italy.
Well, there's a lot of islands in the Mediterranean Sea.
There are, but I'm guessing they're on the mainland, right? I mean, she says
technically, like border-wise, yeah.
Well, not even border-wise. She says going further inland would be a mistake. To me, that like she's wanting to get to an island, so I don't think she's on an island. You know.
Well,
I mean, yeah. My guess is that they're traveling from somewhere within the EDZ to Corsica, and it's a long. I mean, it's not an impossible journey, but it's a long walk.
She calls out Mediterranean Sea.
Yes, she does. But and you can walk from anywhere on the continent to the Mediterranean Sea. From Switzerland, for example, the Mediterranean Sea is the closest sea. Maybe the Adriatic's the closest. But if you're aiming for an island, there's not really many sizable islands in the Adriatic.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if the EDZ is in UK area.
I would be very surprised by that because all the signs are in German.
Yeah, it's definitely not the UK.
It has to be a German-speaking region of Europe.
It was what is it, like the Austria, Switzerland, whatever little circle? Because it's right by. It's got road signs to some mountain.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Because we were talking about this and their influence on creating the name Trostland.
Yeah.
Which was kind of on the border of Germany and yeah.
Dancing Vera just said the road signs mentions Word, which is in East Switzerland. So that was like pretty definitive for saying where the EDZ was generally located. So they're coming from there. They're going south to the Mediterranean. What I think is cool,
which means they're headed to two closest islands, which are just nestled right below France and inset on Italy.
What I think is interesting though is the next entry, actually, so we just don't get hung up talking about the EDC.
Yeah.
Entry 123 is nostalgia came over me today. We came upon an amusement park I used to love back before all of this, but now nature had begun to claim this place. Fortunately, I could still describe most of it in detail. I showed her where I liked to eat, where I rested my weary feet, and even a petting zoo where I'd appreciated the beauty of exotic animals. I started to tell her stories about when I was here with my family, but a scratch in my throat made me stop. I suppose these wounds are still bleeding. And I really like that one because it ties directly with the exotic ship 801's Lone Wolf. 801 prefers places to people, blah, blah, blah. Sitting in the shadow of the park sign, Rocket World, it says, in faded block letters. She drags a toe of her boot through the dirt and feels the weight of centuries around her. So basically, she's going back to this place, this amusement park, that the founder had such fond memories of. In my opinion, it's got to be the same park, right?
Yeah.
And it's just it's really oh, well, maybe not. New Vancouver?
Where's New Vancouver?
The theme park is in New Vancouver. Yeah, whatever. Never mind then. Screw me. Alright, fuck that. I'm gonna shut up.
Where was it that you were quoting from?
801's Lone Wolf, the exotic ship. She sits on the hull of her ship, staring out over the wreckage of an abandoned theme park in New Vancouver. Her eyes crawl up the spine of a rusted-out roller coaster with tracks that stop dead in midair, sticking out like a diving board over a 250-foot drop. I remember just reading this card and thinking it was tying directly to 801's Lone Wolf, but now I'm a little sad.
But maybe maybe she's looking at a different theme park and it's triggering that memory of the one that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's still possible, but I still feel like an idiot.
Well, no, I think that's an important distinction. Is that she's inside her her exo body in a new world, in a new land, yet things are reminding her of her old world, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's strange terrain, but at the same time it's so familiar. You know, she's inside this new body, but she has all these familiar thoughts and feelings and ideas. It's almost, you know, it's almost displacement, but at the same time you're in a parallel universe. I mean, it's the experience we're all going through, you know. So it's very familiar for us, and so that's what ties her humanity in game, and that's what gives her story so much weight, and gives us the tendency for compassion towards her, because we understand what's alien to her is very much the same for everyone else.
Yeah. Currently just searching for theme park south of Switzerland.
I know, I was too. I don't see any theme parks in the Mediterranean Sea. I would be.
I thought there'd be any theme parks in the Mediterranean
Yeah,
Sea. People, that'd be exhausting.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of theme parks.
Well, I was looking for some that were close to that border area. It looks like there's 3. Anyway, that's a
moving on. Entries 142, 143, 144. 142 can kind of go through. Henriette's is basically describing how 801 is like a butterfly. They started from nothing and became something so much more. But 143 is really interesting, I think, because it says, I thought I saw one of those small drones pass over us today. We were picking berries and watching out for more butterflies when I thought I caught a glimpse of the damned thing. I made her promise, no matter what happens, if they catch you, you must not trust them. Not ever. So that was like a guardianless ghost, a light bearer-less ghost, right? Like searching for theirs. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, the risen, the light bearer would be with it. So it's like, it's crazy to think. Pork. Yeah, it's fucking pulled porks everywhere, man. Holy shit. That's the only answer. Yep. But I just think it's interesting that, like, it shows how ghosts were looking and everything. Like, ghosts go right past them while they're hiding from another light bearer, another ghost who could have revived Zavala or Cade or Ikora, like someone who would do like really great things, is going past them, and all they can think is like, oh, I should have shot that thing. Like, you know, like obviously there's hatred in the feelings.
Yeah. Understandable given her experiences.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely understandable. But like, what if she had a gun on her and she saw it and she just shoots it out of the sky? Like, who could we have not had today?
Mm-hmm. So entry 144. Mm-hmm. Shall I read it out?
I mean, if you think it's important.
I'm not. Let me just read through it. I don't know. I'll read the second paragraph. The barrage of questions continues. She wants to know why she's special, why we needed her here, where she comes from. I still can't muster up the answers. I find it easier to bury my face in this journal or pretend to be asleep than to face her questions. We are still quite a ways from the shore. So, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a continuation of the point that, I mean, I guess that Ada mustn't really remember much about her life.
She can't remember anything, right? That's part of being an exo.
Well, yeah, but I feel as though different exos have different degrees of that.
The only exo I knew or know of that has any recollection of their past is Cade, and even Cade says, I'm not even sure if this is real.
Yeah.
He's like, he's not sure if it's a real past or if he just made it up.
But you know,
could that be because of his, you know, his resets?
But it also could be because he's a guardian.
Well, he had the journal before. He had the journal before he was a guardian.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, in his And his
But
characteristics are so very, he's so very enthralled with digging up past things and looking for, undiscovered treasures and stuff like that. So who knows what he uncovered?
hmm,
Even trying to access his own memories. Who knows if he didn't try something similar?
hmm,
So then we can move on. 150, 151 is more of just Henriette being very upset about Ada 1 asking her questions. Like, Ada 1 is trying to learn, and Henriette is not the one that can teach her, because looking at Ada 1 just like really makes her depressed. It really hurts her to see Ada 1.
yeah.
But so in
Well,
150,
at a certain point, she also too has to keep Ada from panic and distress.
yeah.
You can't just tell a kid, "Holy crap, we're all gonna die."
Yeah, it's difficult because it's not like actually revealed until the final entry, but like Ada 1 is Adelaide, Henriette's daughter, so it's like really hard. It's really hard for Henriette to look at Ada 1 and be like, this thing is my daughter and she's asking me for assistance and I can't give the assistance. So it's like this like cyclical, like, I want to help my daughter, I'm disgusted by my daughter, she needs my help. I want to help my daughter, but I'm disgusted by my daughter, she needs my help. And just like hating herself because she can't help her because she's disgusted by what she did to her. It's a really like harsh story.
Yeah.
But so 157, 58, 59, they finally make it to the shoreline. There's a small organized group there, but there's no boats, so they will not be boating away from Europe. Corsica is off the list now. 158, Henriette has an anxiety attack because a light bearer is kind of like the leader of the group on the shoreline. And she really liked the Black Armory weapons. She was like really interested in them. And Henriette wasn't sure, like, does she just like the weapons or does she know? Like, does she know Ada is responsible for the weapons? And in 159, today, some children and their parents asked if Ada wouldn't mind holding their hands and talking to them. Apparently, this is their first encounter with an exo. She takes to them with ease, makes them feel comfortable like it's nothing. Her innocence shines. She has such a good heart. She enjoys playing with the children. She's quite good at hide and seek, a skill I'm more than happy to let her hone. The children love her playfulness. There are 2 other exos in this camp, and 3 of them have become fast friends. Wait.
I know. I was just.
This is their first encounter. There's also 2 other exos.
But I did wonder if maybe the other exos are jerks.
Yeah, like those exos don't talk to children.
Yeah.
Well, those exos before, they weren't very. Who knows what they were like?
They were the criminals made into exos, like Cade 6. They're all bastards and not nice and charming. And then we get 170, 171, which is basically the end. Last night, the peace of the refugee camp abruptly ended. Thunder and lightning reverberated in our ears. The people with drones fought a battle in the camp against other people with drones. She and I took this opportunity to escape by following the shoreline for a few miles. I know why they're here. I recognized one of them. The man from before. The one with the red drone. The one who killed Yuki. They are here for the obsidian accelerator. We have to leave. And then 171. We watched the camp burn from the cliffs. I saw people with drones fan out in all directions. I could follow the paths they cut through the darkness by the flickering of their drone's light. There's no more time for anything else. And despite her concerns, she has opened up to me. I'm removing the obsidian accelerator and sending her down the road. They can come get it from me, not her. This is likely goodbye. So, from entry 1 all the way back in the Golden Age to entry 171, and then the final entry all the way into the Dark Age, where light bearers are fighting light bearers, good and evil, the lines of good and evil are being drawn. It's a long path to walk.
Yeah, it is. It's probably, a lot of the books cover much. Well, this probably covers the longest period of any of the books, I guess. Maybe apart from maybe the Books of Sorrow, but
the Maracena, because that did centuries.
Yeah, it did. That's true. Anyway, it still covers quite a long period, and it's probably the biggest insight that we have into the collapse so far. Even though the Maracena covers that period, the period of the collapse from the perspective of the Awoken was they were completely isolated. So we didn't see what happened in our solar system during that period. So yeah, it's really interesting.
Right, there wasn't a lot of detail about what was happening on Earth during that time in the Maracena.
No, and there's not a huge amount of detail here, really. That there is more detail, but it's the focus of the story is what happens to Henriette and Adelaide and the founders of the Black Armory, and less about here's what happened during the collapse. The description of the creature that attacked them is very. There are some specific details to it, but it's still quite broad.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll ever get a book like Ghost Stories, but it's of people living through or dying in the collapse, where it can actually go more into detail about the collapse itself and less about specific people running from it and hiding from it.
That would be really cool, but I also kind of think that I think Bungie have been intentionally vague.
Yeah.
And
I think to an extent they should be, they have to be, they should be, but at some point we need to get more detail. Otherwise, we're just going to be well, what even fucking was it,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think we will, and I think, I expect. So I don't know if this is it a spoiler to talk about the Queen's Court dialogue this week?
I don't think so. If you haven't seen it,
we're
going to talk about it now because it's kind of panning into this.
It's on the Ishtar Collective if anybody would like to watch it. But I think there was one thing that everybody pointed out about that dialogue, which is the connection between what Mara says and what another character said. But leaving that aside, one thing that Mara says, and I'll just get the actual dialogue up here.
Yeah, you get that dialogue, and I'm going to get another dialogue.
Okay. So she says, "The next act is about to begin, and I do not know when I will return." And, from Mara's perspective, I don't think Mara cares about Joker's Wild.
No.
What she's talking about is, she doesn't really care about the lives of Guardians. She cares about the
humanity.
The human race. Including the Awoken and the Exos. So my expectation is that she is talking about what is the next chapter, what is the next big event to happen. And I know there's been loads of hints at the arrival of Savathun, but if you look at we see the pyramid ships in Mara's court.
Mm-hmm. She was clearly looking at them.
We know that from the cutscene, the animated cutscene at the start of, I think it was the Vanilla D2 campaign.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the shadows of very similar ships approaching, during the collapse.
And we also saw them when we went into the water on Io. On that,
Yep.
they were above the water, and there were people screaming and dying in the under the water, like they were like statue people, and the pyramids crashed in.
Yeah. And then obviously, as everybody knows, we saw them at the end of the campaign in the cutscene where the light washes over them and they
turn
come
back on.
alive. Yeah.
And we have the concept art depicting them, which looks like they're beams of light aimed at the Earth, almost as if they were glassing the planet or destroying people, or who knows what they're doing, beaming people up. Who knows?
So we know that that they are coming, like, and I expect that their arrival will shed more light onto the collapse. You know, they were there at the beginning. I think it's pretty clear to me that they were there at the beginning. They were there during the collapse. They were there during the arrival of the darkness. The other races that we've faced since then are, you know, like the Hive are obviously tied to the darkness, but I feel as though this is something else. So Mara might be talking about Savathun, but I think more likely she's talking about something bigger. She's talking about the arrival of the pyramid ships.
Yeah. Since you didn't actually read this part, I want to also read this part from the court this week. This is what it is to be awoken. I dream of a friend I will come to have. She will tell me a side should always be taken, even if it is the wrong side. I think I should like her. Now, if that sounds familiar, it should, because that was way back from D1 on the first mission on Venus, where we're searching out the Exostranger, and she goes, like, you need to get into the Black Garden. How do we get into the Black Garden? You need to go talk to the Awoken. The Awoken, blah, 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 sitting out there on the edge of light and dark. A side must always be chosen, even if it is the wrong side. And she, like, crushes Vex. So Mara, it's kind of insinuating that whatever's coming next is what the Exostranger was also fighting. And so Mara will be working alongside the Exostranger in the future, which is kind of insane to think about. Like, that, like, these two, I would call them fan favorites. It's fan favorite characters, right? Are, like, going to actually end up working together. But,
yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, the craziest thought that immediately went across my mind was how much of the Exostranger's influence had already been because of a future event with Mara. When we are set to go to the moon and discover the Hive, and we are set to go to the Black Garden, and all the counters that she leads us on at the very beginning of Destiny's campaign, how much of that may have already been influenced by a future meeting with Mara.
What's that thing that it's a something paradox where you go back in time to make the events happen for the future?
Is it not the grandfather paradox?
Is that the grandfather paradox? What if this whole thing is a grandfather paradox where it's like, in the future, Mara and the Exostranger are like talking, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, if the Guardians didn't come to me looking for the Black Garden, we wouldn't be here today. Like, something different would have happened. And the Exostranger is like, oh, I have to go tell them to talk to you to get into the Black Garden to, like, kick all this off. So the Exostranger has to go back to kick it off.
And the crazy thought is, remember when we encounter the prince, we encounter Prince Aldrin, and he is very oppositional to us when we're there to try to get, he sends us on the mission to get the Eye of a Gate Lord. And, but Mara vouches and stands up and lets us continue with that effort.
Yeah, there definitely is a connection.
But so one last thing that I wanted to say on this was that Mara dreams of a friend she shall come to have, clearly referencing the Exostranger for the possibility of the future for a final act which they will be fighting. Mara is trying to save humanity from the thing that is coming to destroy humanity, which we just discussed was very likely the pyramid ships. Shurido, while she was still alive, also had a dream. And so this is from the rocket launcher from the Dreaming City, Sleepless. I was dreaming, Shur says, wiping her mouth off with the back of her hand. I saw you on a great black triangle. You split it in two with your bare hands. And I was dead, I think. She cracks her neck with a deliciously loud pop. Or trapped, like in a maze, but pretty close to figuring my way out. Shur stands up to stretch. She does not mind that Mara is not listening. Let her read. And there was another woman with you. On the triangle, Mara murmurs. Yeah. She was helping. Then your brother showed up, and she shakes out of her arms, frowning thoughtfully. The dream is already fading. He said Tropea, or maybe it was tropical. Anyway. So, Shurido is clearly, like, dreaming of a future event in which Oldrinsov is there, Mara is there, and so is some other mystery woman who, knowing everything now, really feels like the extra stranger. Aldrin, however, dies, and gets brought back as a guardian. So it feels like all these forces are going to be coming together to fight the pyramids together. And it's
we still have Eris floating about out there too. So.
Oh yeah, it could have been
Teox.
Eris.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Eris is Teox, so. God, we gotta stop those stupid fucking things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Just going back a few steps. So Dancing Viru. Something that Dancing Viru just said there about it's that this screams Curia to me. There is an element, as much as I think that when Mara was talking about the next act, she was talking about the pyramid ships. I do think that if we look at the common threads between, Mara's focus, which is kind of recently been related to the Taken, and Curia is Taken, and the Exo Stranger's history or future with the Vex, there is kind of a, that could be one way that's one argument that actually maybe the next act is related to Curia.
Right.
I guess.
Do you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. I mostly, I get it. I just don't know if I agree.
I think that, to me, the biggest argument against that is that there have been a lot of hints about Savathun's arrival, and obviously the Truth to Power books talk about kind of.
They talk about Quria directly, and now they're even debunking Quria ever being involved.
Yeah,
they're canceling. That's what really bothers me about the Truth to Power books. They're like, hey, this actually never mind. This actually never mind. This actually never mind. This, and it's just like, just make up your damn mind, like.
Yeah. I don't believe a word that the Truth to Power books say, but I mean, I know you can't just reject law because you don't agree with it. I'm not saying that we should do that. I just think that, as Anon was saying, like, there are so many concepts that have been introduced in the Truth to Power books and then being immediately kind of rejected.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know, but I think there is a possibility that the next act will be Curia. I still think that I still personally think that the next act being the pyramid ships is what Mara was talking about, because we know that they're on their way from the end of the D1 campaign. Sorry, the end of the D2 campaign, we saw these ships come back to life. There have been hints at Curia and Savathun, and we know that Savathun is involved in the Dreaming City, but I think my expectation is that the pyramid ships are the next kind of existential crisis that humanity has to deal with.
Yeah. Well, it's all been leaning towards this.
Yeah.
So you got to ask yourself if the if the, if the ships are on their way to our solar system, and we know that they were at a much greater distance at one time. Are we to say that they definitely were here before and were a part of the collapse, or had they always been at a threshold outside of our solar system?
No, I think they were definitely here. I mean, based on the cutscene at the start of the Destiny 2 campaign, based on the dream sequence that we saw, which I know you can't really rely on. I think the pyramid ships were here. They were in our solar system. I don't know if they. I mean, the opening cutscene kind of hints that they were on Earth and that they were kind of face to face with the Traveler. Maybe that wasn't the case. Maybe that was artistic license, but that's how I interpreted it.
That's how I did too. But I was just thinking if there was a possibility that all we're seeing and witnessing was like a foresight.
Yeah.
Or if we're just seeing what is going to happen. It's like an inevitable thing that we are aware of, but has yet to have happened yet.
Yeah, that's possible. I guess with the dream sequence, you can't really say one way or the other. But I do think, based on the opening animation, that they were definitely here. Hello again.
I was here the whole time, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know, we didn't really read through the final entry.
Yeah, because, and I've had it sitting in chat, the link to it, so I'm going to post this link in chat now. The final entry, I just feel like you have to read it yourself. It's really long as well, so it's not really fun to just hear someone like read something that's going to take a few minutes. But most importantly, it's a really emotional letter from Henriette to Ada, saying like, you know, like, I'm your mom, like this is what it is. And I really like how the game handled I don't really like how the game handled this lore book, but I do really like how they handled the last piece of this lore book, where you will get the entries up to 170 171 entirely RNG based until this one, and they will drop in order. And then once you get 170 171 and you unlock it, it checks off, or it unlocks final entry. And then you take it back to Ada, and she reads it. Like, she actually like reads it in front of you, like not out loud. That'd be awesome if she narrated it. But and it just means so much to her, and it's like such an emotional story.
Yeah, I think that's actually, you know, I still haven't got that far. I haven't unlocked. I don't think I've unlocked any of them yet. Ooh. But I've seen the. It's okay. I can.
You're never gonna get them now.
I have the last word. It's fine.
20%. Oof. You have the last word?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought you were trash at PvP.
No, it took me 3 games, so you know, whatevs. I shouldn't say things. I shouldn't say things like that. I know how many people have. It actually. I'm not even joking. The thing that annoyed me most about that quest is having to do 15 lost sectors.
Why does that annoy people?
Because I hate having to do the same thing again and again and again. I hate grinding so much. Like, literally, I did 7. I did the same lost sector.
It takes you 10 minutes. Who cares?
It's 10 minutes I could spend doing anything else with my life.
Like you have a life.
I hated it.
That was my argument this week about just in defense of people who, you know, just like Baxter feels, they feel that they're wasting their time in certain things they shouldn't have to.
I mean, it's just, you know, like the some of the other things in there were quite. Some of the other things that you had to do as part of the quest chain, you know, they are quite challenging, and it's kind of fun. You know, and I can understand, like, especially if you don't really like PvP, they can be a chore.
Yeah.
But
I think there was a chore
Lost
for everyone
Sector-
in there.
Well, yeah, I think for me, the PvP stuff was more of a chore. Sorry, the PvE stuff was more of a chore than the PvP stuff. I don't, like when I go on to play an average game of Destiny, if I'm playing by myself, if I'm not joining a party with my friends or whatever, which is most of the way that I play, I generally tend to play alone. I'll play Crucible, Gambit, maybe. To be honest, it's really just Crucible and Gambit that I tend to play. Sometimes I'll go and do the kind of daily and weekly, the powerful engram stuff. The what do you call
Challenges. We got to get you in more
Yeah.
raids, man. You got to do more raids with us.
Well, I did do Last Wish for the first time, like 2 weeks ago, and it was awesome.
Like I know, like I joke about it, but like I do really sympathize with the people who are like not fans of PvP, and you feel like
Yeah.
you're getting forced to do this. And I absolutely hate the people who are like, it's a PvP gun. Why do you even care? Like, shut the
Right.
fuck up.
Yeah.
It's a looter shooter. I want every goddamn gun. I don't care what
Yeah.
it's supposed to be used for.
I actually wish now this would have been good. Yeah, as Anna said in the chat, going from 44% to 9% sucks.
Yeah.
Like there was only one. I played one game and we just got stomped, and I went back like 2 or 3%.
It
and
encourages
I was-
leaving the game. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, we're losing. I'm out.
Yeah. Now, as I said, I really like PvP. I enjoy. I'll just happily sit and play like several matches.
Mhm.
If you don't like doing that, then I just really wish that some of the quests had like different options. So you could say, right, either do this in PvP, or even if it was just play 20 PvP matches.
Yeah, no.
At least that would give you the option of saying,
Right.
okay, I'm probably not, my kill death ratio is crap, but at least I know I can play 20 matches, and at the end, even if I got 0%,
Yeah.
I still get the gun.
Like, I don't think there needs to be alternatives. I think that it's always with PvP. Like, every time there's a PvP quest, they have regression.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Why are you doing that to people? All
Yeah.
it does is frustrate people. Make it a larger goal. Like, instead of it being like, let's say all you needed to do was kill 20 Guardians for this, make it 100. I don't care, but no regression. The PvP guys will still get it done in a fucking day. The people who aren't good at PvP will be like, well, I'm making progress every day. I'll get it done. And that'll be
Right.
the end of it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Or they'll wait until Iron Manor.
Mayhem's the way. Trust me.
Yeah, Mayhem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard
Mayhem.
that.
Mayhem 6-shooter. Oof.
I just played quick play personally, but
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean,
I-
everyone, it's each their own. But with
Yeah.
like
My-
Mayhem,
my-
if you have like a good if you have a good multi-kill, like if you're going into Mayhem with like Blade Barrage trying to get this done, you're screwed. Because Blade Barrage now is like insanely easy to take out. The knives don't fucking kill. The knives
Yeah,
will hit
it's
you.
kinda-
The knives will hit
Nothing
you
about it.
and do 30 damage and then explode
Yeah.
and do like 300 damage and kill you. So it's like, haha, pff. Oh, now we're both dead.
one thing I have noticed in PvE is at least Blade Barrage recharge. It seems to reach well with
Galanor.
Shards of Galanor.
Yeah.
It seems to recharge even more than it used to.
Right.
That's
No.
been my
You just spam the
impression.
blades.
Oh, actually, yes and no, because they tuned Galanor, and this is not what we're here for, but they tuned Galanor to be, because it had this really vague way of how it triggered its quality of the perk. So instead of going up to 90% as its cap, it'll go up to 75% of its cap, but it's entirely focused on knife hit. So like if all of your knives, like you go up and you hit like a big ass boss, all of your knives hit it, it should give you your 75. It shouldn't give you the like 10 that it used to, because it's like, oh well, you didn't kill him, you didn't hit 17 enemies. Like I was constantly making 7 orbs on my super and getting 25%. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
My teammates are
Yeah.
getting more super than I am.
Yeah, I actually switched back to playing Orpheus rig, Night Stalker for the first time in ages this week with all of the changes.
Mechanics lore.
Yeah.
Oh crap.
Anyway, final entry.
I had something on that, but I forgot.
On mechanics?
Yeah. I remember now. I had I just want to say this because now it's actually kind of on topic. Dancing Guru in chat just said mechanics lore with that little like trolley face emote thing. I don't know what the hell it means. So I just want to, because we're in like the last 15 minutes of the show, we kind of covered the Black Armory. I want to pitch this guy to you guys. Saint 14, the helmet of Saint 14, right? Or helm of Saint 14. That's the one that makes your Titan bubble blind people that enter. It's been like an old theory of mine that exotic armor that do stuff like this, it's like everyone is unique, right? Like everyone, in my opinion, the Destiny universe, everyone is like doing things a little bit differently. That's why there's 6-shooter. That's why there's top tree, bottom tree, golden gun, 6-shooter, way of the marksman, way of the whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
You know, and then you'll have your Sentinel Titans, you'll have your this, you'll have your that, and it's all very different. So in my opinion, Saint 14 like tuned his light specifically to make it so his bubble, naturally his bubble, would blind his enemies. And it was like so focused that a piece of his armor kind of became imbued with that attunement, and by another Titan wearing it, it kind of transfers to that ability. So like in the case of Galanor, there was a hunter who like really fucking worked on his blade barrage, and he was like, haha, like I can feast off like a vampire nonsense my enemies, and now shards of Galanor have that like imbued energy within them. So mechanics lore, that is my headcanon.
That makes sense.
I like that.
I feel as though
if you think about Shinobu's vow, her
that one just has another grenade holder.
Okay. Well, what about what is the chest piece?
Armamentarium. Raiden Flux.
No, the other hunter one.
Lucky Raspberry.
No, I have it. It's the new one.
Gwisen Vest?
Yes.
6 Coyote?
Gwisen.
Gwysine?
Gwisen?
Yeah, Gwisen.
Yeah, I mean, the ghost.
You're
the ghost vest.
You're the dude who does this. Why are you asking me how it's pronounced? Like, that's your job.
I couldn't remember the name. There's too many items in my head. There's no room.
We can. Oh man, I gotta.
Well, Wolfclaw. Who is he? Anyway, Dr. Wolfclaw.
Unrelated.
Yeah, I know. I'm just your cannon is messing with my rabbits. They're thumping wildly.
I don't. He's Sorry for anyone. He's referencing something that he's not telling us. He's just referencing it. It's extremely obnoxious, and that's my bit. So. Okay, so the Gwisen vest has a description of Songdo Whiteclaw. Sorry, I said Wolfclaw. Whiteclaw.
This is why I didn't understand.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's wrap the show up with this.
All right, so the Traveler called me back, told me to work on this side, or told me my work on this side isn't done yet. And so if you read the lore entry, it's about, it's a little bit poetic. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty neat one. It kind of reminds me of, some of the older Japanese codex, whenever they would talk about when you walk in the way of a certain discipline, or if you're trying to better yourself on a certain path. And so this item has a lot of Korean influence. So the Koreans, had the same philosophies and some of their stuff. Anyway, It goes like this. There is no self to kill. There is no end to life. The choices were made by someone else, the one who we were. I'm sorry, the one who was who we were. We return estranged to act on them. We must stay unseen, like the ghost we are. Take flight from the son of living folk. Take the ghost you were given. End the cycle that gave you birth. End those who killed you first.
You know, I actually don't think I've ever read that. I have this chest. I just don't think I've ever read that. I actually really like that.
And so when you think about the ability that it has when you kill and then immediately evade right afterwards, you get more light back.
Yeah, you kill and then you go invisible. We must stay unseen like the ghosts we are. It's talking about how it's essentially talking about how they were revived as a guardian, and their kind of philosophy on what it is to be a Night Stalker. That's really cool. And that would be like another example. This person feels so strongly like this is how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be unseen all the time, invisible all the time. You're supposed to be this ghost. And so the Gwisen vest is kind of imbued with them.
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, Gwisen is Korean for ghosts.
Ghost vest. Dun dun.
Ghost vest.
Ghost vest coast to coast.
Yeah, and it has the Korean emblem glaring right on the chest.
Yeah.
Is that a Korean emblem?
Yeah.
The red, yellow, blue, a little bit.
Yeah.
Neat. I like that. There's like so many things in the game that I'm like, Bungie, why aren't you making these into memorabilia? Like, why are you making little keychain ghosts? I don't want that. Like that though. I like that. I don't know why. I just do. Like just that. It's like a pin, like little medallion like this big.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'd collect that. I'd buy that.
As Viru says, you know, the artifacts in Destiny 1 were
Another example of
very
it, yeah.
similar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really good example, and I'd love to know more about where like
what happened
what
to
is
them?
it? Well,
Give
no,
me
I
my
wasn't
fucking
gonna say
artifacts
that.
back.
But yeah, I would like some artifacts. They were nice.
Remember when they were first introduced and they were just like nothing? It was like,
Pointless.
isn't this neat?
Yeah.
Another
All they did was
thing to
complicate
chase.
things even more.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
another thing to boost your power level up, or your light level up.
Remember
God.
Dredgen's rose, the rose artifact?
The
Oh my
space
God.
cabbage.
Yeah. The artichoke.
The artwork for them.
Oh
is
yeah, space
beautiful.
artichoke. I get cabbage and artichokes confused all the time.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I'm a vegetarian.
I'm not.
Anon's a guinea pig.
I mean, my diet is like 80% cookie dough, hot chocolate, marshmallows. Like, this is all vegan. Maybe.
Good job. Well, no, there's probably egg in that,
Yeah.
and maybe milk.
Yeah.
Still just semi-vegan.
I
Vegetarian.
mean, it's either vegan or it's not. You don't really have semi-vegan, to be honest. That's semi-vegan.
I've met quite a few
My space
vegans and
cabbages.
vegetarians that, by definition, aren't.
Lol.
Anyway.
Oh man. We just go off the rails at the end every time.
I'm just busy looking at artifacts now. They're just beautiful.
They are beautiful
they
too. They should
Yeah.
bring
The
them
little
back.
worms on
Artifacts.
what was the artifact that had the two little worms that were eating the old candy? That was an item in there. That was an awesome piece of art.
2 pieces of worms.
Oh, I wish I could remember that one.
Two worms eating a piece of candy.
Or I think it was from one of the Dawning events a long time ago. And if you didn't turn in your candy, you got like some, yeah.
That wasn't an artifact then, was it?
No, it wasn't an artifact.
So it was one of the candies, and if you didn't use it by the end of the dawning, it became rotten candy.
And it had two like worms on it or something. Where's that one? I think so. Rotten candy. Yeah, rotten candy.
Yeah,
it's got
rotten
two little
candy.
worms. It's an engram.
Oh yeah, it does have little worms on it, and they're like hive worms.
Yeah, somebody drew that for us to just be like, whatever.
True.
I still have rotten candy in my vault because I save everything.
Yeah, me too.
Which is actually kind of like silly and fun that like I actually have rotten candy. I like that. That's a nice touch. Artifacts should come back though, in my opinion, because one of the things that Destiny could really use, like I played a little bit of Anthem, and what it really seems like it's like leaning into is the idea of like really speccing your build with modifications, and Destiny doesn't have that. Destiny doesn't have a slot for that. But if they were to bring back artifacts that are like they're kind of like pseudo exotics, where they're not going to take your exotic slot, but they're going to give you a specific type of buff, where it's like Blades of Gallon or Blade Barrage now has a more refined spread, so it like lets it be more of a local singular damage. Or like just simple little things like that, like little boosts to your build.
Well, how did you feel about
like
the old? Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, does Anthem have like a PvP element to it?
It doesn't.
No.
But that's why artifacts could extra work, because then artifacts could be a non-PvP piece.
But yeah, well, that would make sense, because I do think that one of the things that Bungie have been really careful about is, you know, like they've tried to make exotics very recognizable, so that when you are facing someone with it, yeah, like if somebody's
it's like the stapler, you know, the Might of multi-tool. You hear it and you know exactly what you're being shot with.
Or like,
or
you know,
last word.
Yeah, that like you know, there's so many. You can hear when somebody's using Telesto. You can hear when somebody's using the colony.
That was 7,
you know,
not 8.
There's a what?
I went gung 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 gung, but that was only 7, so they still have one word left.
The penultimate word.
Laconic.
It was an accident, but I'm gonna run with it because now it actually sounds good.
Few words.
Yeah, you know, and I think, you know, that's one of the things I really like. I think that was a good design decision from Bungie. But you're right, if artifacts only affected PvE, that would that's kind of...
That's actually a good idea, because the biggest struggle they have is balancing the weapons amongst the 2 different game modes, and that's the people's biggest gripes. So if they're going to vary it to where you can only use the more devastating parts of the weapon and the abilities in PvE, then they could tie them to artifacts. It would be, in my mind, it would be much more simple to tune an artifact.
I just want to point out that Dancing Guru said, "I'm not up to date with Hunter gear. Is there any exotic that gives a perk?" in reference to Anna Bray leaving Pools of Light, which was her experience in Twilight Gap. Her golden gun was so powerful that it left essentially sunspots behind, like the Titan hammers do, which I think is awesome. But I'm gonna one up you.
She has a gun on her hip right now that has the rose emblem on it, and it's a Tex Mechanica.
Is it Tex Mechanica?
Yeah. Well, it's got the Tex Mechanica filigree.
I guess, yeah. But I'm going to one up Dancing Viru and say, since Anna Bray is very much in league with Rasputin with the Warsat and all that, there should be a hunter exotic called like Warsat Down or something like that. And essentially what it is shooting an enemy with your golden gun also summons a Warsat to fall on them.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome.
I would
imagine the Christmas noob that goes into PvP for the first time and they see their teammate get exploded in fire and then a Warsat falls on them.
How would that work indoors, though?
Who cares?
I care.
You ruin everything.
I'm like a magnet for Warsats out in the wild.
Yeah. I will get hit by the thing. What's up with the walls that fall now? Like what is that? Like why are there exploding walls? Those kill me all the time. At least with the Warsat, I'm like, I know where that's gonna fall. But there's like 3 walls that just come out of nowhere. Like, get the fuck out of here.
That's just like Rasputin knows that you need to hide behind something. So he's like, look, I can't stop this Warsat from falling down, but what I can do is make some walls fall down as well.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Here's some defense.
Yeah.
Right.
The best offense. All right.
Which is wild when you think about Nighthawk taking all of it and making it one super bullet.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I wonder if the rogue lightbearer who was looking for Anna to get the Izanagi burden, which is what she used to kill them. Oh, never mind.
You said Anna, but I think you mean
Ada.
I got really confused there.
I was going to say, what if he got inspired to essentially make the Celestial Nighthawk after seeing what the Izanagi's burden does? And he's like, oh, I should do this with my golden gun.
Well, I have to, I hate doing the rabbit hole thing, but, you know, with the two mysterious figures from the whole Black Armory paper are the enemies that hunt people at night. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the big swampy machine creature that was banging on the door.
Well,
right, so
I don't know if I wouldn't presume that they are the same.
Well, I guess I'm alone on that.
You see, the reason why I wouldn't presume that they were the same is that when we have stories about the Fallen from like the beginning of the Risen. Do you know what I mean? We don't have stories about these creatures, and I suspect that they were only present during the collapse, like during the.
Well, we kind of already talked about that. The collapse is happening. The creatures are there. The Traveler pushes back everything. The creatures are gone, and releases the ghosts.
Yes, exactly. But as Ada and Henriette are traveling, they talk about creatures at night. Like, wolves. No, they don't actually talk about creatures at night. They talk about, where was it? They talk about...
They leave and they say it's safe. They will only move during the day because they're still afraid of it. But then they never talk about it again.
They say the airport isn't safe anymore. Oh, well, where is it? Oh, no, they said something about night, but I can't find it now. Oh, man, no, maybe I'm...
The temp at night?
The what, sorry?
The temp at night?
The temp?
Yeah, at night.
What's the temp?
The temp at night. The temp at night.
I have no idea what you're saying. I mean, I understand the words that you're saying. The temp at night. Is temp short for temporary?
Technically.
I have no idea what's going.
Is this an 80s song?
No. Someone will get it.
Okay. I thought it said something about...
It didn't. You're wrong. And we're at our time.
So it says the control tower is ablaze and the monstrous sounds on the wind will keep us from investigating any further. Which to me implied there was something monstrous. But I don't think it's the creature that attacked while they were in the lab. I think this is the Fallen.
The boogeyman. Oh no, my sticky notes. I was playing with them.
His sticky note.
So that is going to wrap up our episode of Loose Canon this week. We will be back. Can everyone make it for the 17th?
I think so.
Any known issues? Guardian will be starting his new job on the 18th and working on the 17th. So he won't be with us until March 3rd, which is sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to pick out something like really awesome to talk about without him here for next week. For the next week that we'll be here. If you missed any of the show or you just want to listen to it again, I will be uploading it onto YouTube later today. This week.
I know Volts was sad to be missing it this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get it uploaded sooner. I forget a lot to upload it. I'm pretty sure Anchor pushes it out everywhere now, like including Podbean. So you should be able to find us wherever you want. I don't know why Anchor took so long. Maybe it's because we do it so inconsistently, or. But I
don't know.
Yeah, I had a good time. I hope everyone watching or listening had a good time. Hope you too. So.
Yeah, I had a good time. I had the best of times.
So Rhino, can I actually ask you something?
Yes.
That tweet that you replied with a GIF to me on.
Alien egg?
Alien egg, yeah.
It's just an egg.
Are you committing to that?
For now.
All right.
I didn't see this. What is this?
It's a test.
He's making an alien egg.
Ah, I found it.
Yeah, it's totally an alien egg, right?
Totally.
What is that?
An alien egg. Are you dumb?
Is it though? I mean, maybe.
The idea is to get it to glow.
Can I link to this in the Twitch chat?
Yeah.
I didn't want to blow up his spot. That's why I was like careful.
Well, then you shouldn't have brought it up.
Well, I mean, I wanted to a little bit.
My curiosity was piqued, and I had to know if it was possible.
Yeah.
To make it do a certain thing.
I am also piqued. I regret those words.
I do too.
Don't we all? Let's end this before I say something worse. Bye, guys. See you on the 17th. Love you.
Bye.
Peace.
How the fuck do I end it? Oh, there it is.